Hello Virgo, and welcome to your in-depth monthly horoscope for November. I'm going to give you a broad overview of what to expect, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail each of the key influences and dates that are particularly relevant to your sign. Now, of course, your ruler is Mercury, and Mercury is going to be making its way through 2 homes this month. It begins through the first half of the month in your sector of everyday communication, suggesting that there is going to be a lot of discussion and perhaps exchange of ideas. And that's all going to come up to the boil in particular on the back of the total lunar eclipse, which occurs on the 8th. But then later in the month, on the 16th and the 17th, Mercury and Venus, which are both in this 3rd house area, move into your 4th house. Very much more to do with where you live, how you live there, and who with. We also have a new moon, and Jupiter, the planet that governs the sign of Sagittarius, which for you is around about your more emotional environment, that also ends a retrograde on the 23rd too. But Jupiter spends the whole of this month in your sector of relating and forges a brilliant link to Pluto, so I can't wait to share that with you. But equally, Mars in your sector of ambition is compromised by the rather beguiling but also confusing energies of Neptune. So that could have an impact on your professional relationships. So please stay with me for more. But if you would like to ascend above this zodiac forecast and understand what more serious astrology holds for you in 2023, you can order your year 2023 forecast. And if you order it now, get the rest of this year free. Plus, in my special package of 30% off, get your personal roadmap, your character analysis, which can help you to understand some of the repetitive patterns in your life, maybe more difficult ones, get more intimately aware of why these are occurring, but also gain the insight of how you can work around these, but also embrace your talents and qualities even more. Please see the link below for more. If you're new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you're an ongoing viewer, thank you so much for all your support. So Virgo, as you enter November, so the Sun, your ruler Mercury, and Venus are all lined up in the passionate sign of Scorpio, which for you is house 3. This has a kind of Gemini dimension in terms of being quick-witted and nimble, and a desire for lots of ins and outs in terms of bubbly interactions. But because of the energy of Scorpio, that adds much greater gravitas in your case. Now also, the Sun and Venus are very closely together through the first 10 days. Now this combination suggests that how you express yourself can take on an extra dimension. It's almost as if people can become more attuned, not just to the quality of your message or your ideas themselves, but even how you say things. So don't be surprised if someone's hanging on your every word somewhere in your world, which of course can be very gratifying. And it may be that there is going to be lots of bubbly exchanges, particularly on social media, instant message, texts, and that can be fun. But I think what you're looking for perhaps also is an idea, an ethos to what you're doing that gives you a sense of motivation. So it's possible that you could be doing quite a bit of research or reading or listening to what other people have to say as well. And because of the sign of Scorpio being very much about conviction, it's possible by the time of the total lunar eclipse on the 8th that you may be coming into contact with people who see things very differently to you. So as much as one person may be enchanted by your message or your mode of communication, another person could be much more inclined to push back. And that can become very clear in week 2 when the Sun comes into contact with the square that's been ongoing, off and on, over the last 2 years. A very attritional and abrasive square between Saturn and Uranus. So the Sun joins in with this, and of course the Moon. So the Moon is very close to Uranus on the total lunar eclipse, and this event is going to provide a backdrop energy for the next 6 months. So I think what you're looking for in terms of the position of the Sun and Mercury, which become exact on the event itself, is that extra stimulation and excitement. The issue is that Uranus and the Moon are in your sector of higher knowledge, but also of your personal freedom. And if it feels that you are limited in your life choices because you're needing to be very dutiful, hard-working, or adhering to the needs of others, it may start to create quite a lot of tension. And I think this can be particularly prevalent in week 2. And part of the reason for this is because your nature is to give of yourself to others. But it's also important to give to ourselves. And if your physical vitality has been suffering, particularly with Saturn in your 6th house over the last couple of years, it's possible that you may now be looking for some kind of change-up. But the change-up may require a discussion. And that discussion may mean that someone sees things in a different way. And all of this can create a lot of friction. Also, Mars is continuing its journey in the sign of Gemini, pushing you to promote your ideas, your talents, to raise your profile. But it is in a potentially confusing and misleading angle with Neptune in your sector of relating. So as much as you can have the confidence and conviction that Mars can give you to assert yourself, it's vital that factually you are accurate in what you are saying. And as I say, you could encounter someone who's just as passionate as you in seeing things in a different way. Fortunately, Jupiter, also the ruler of Pisces, your 7th house of relating, like Neptune, although it's in a retrograde all through this month through to the 23rd, it is forging a very impressive and dynamic link with Pluto in your sector of self-expression. If there is someone you can really relate to, there is a real meeting of the minds, you generate a joint excitement between you, then this can be a really important month for that relationship to develop. But by the middle of the month, as Venus and your ruler Mercury move on the 16th and the 17th into your 4th house, which is governed by the sign of Sagittarius, although that combination is very playful and it could see you inviting people around to your abode, playing mind host, or making some physical changes to where you live, when the Sun moves on the 22nd and we have the new moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd, I think those two, Venus and Mercury, come into an exact conjunction. But this is making you a little bit more aware of your emotional needs, your familial needs, your need for security, for nurture, for protectiveness, and perhaps even for a little bit of defensiveness. But Jupiter goes direct as this month draws to a close. And if there is something that you need to discuss of a delicate nature with someone who is very close to you, and it is around infusing your life with much greater excitement and spontaneity, this could be the time when you really can explain things in a way which shares the emotion, not just the idea. So earlier in the month, I think it's very much more about the idea. So an opportunity this month for sure to have some very bubbly exchanges. If you are single, that combination between the Sun and Venus can really be very alluring. If you are someone who's in an ongoing relationship, it doesn't matter what type of relationship it is, if it does feel that there's a lot of give, a lot of commitment, a lot of obligation, but a limitation on your personal freedom, I think this is a month when you may want to make some significant changes. But as the month draws to a close, it does move from that more expressive, intellectual vibe much more to what you need in terms of security.